Nice.
You know, when you're in the U.S., we drive on the right side of the road. So when you're walking, like escalators, stairs, all that stuff, everybody walks on the right. When you're in a country that drives on the opposite side, does it switch over? Because sometimes I'm walking around the streets here and I'm like, oh, maybe I should be on the left. And I feel like the locals are always swapping on the left. What do you think, Oshi?
Yeah.
You have to switch.
On the left. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They drive
Maybe
on
it doesn't really apply here because there's a lot of foreigners. But if you're
Yeah.
if you're in Tokyo
or Indo,
yeah, you'll be on the left, especially on the escalator. You know, they all scoot back to the right, and then you had to like, you know, keep the left open so people could go past you.
All right, that's something I just learned today. I've been wondering that for way too long.
Niseko United, famous 5, I want to say, resorts all in one mountain. What's your favorite resort?
I don't know where I am when I'm here ever.
Same.
So I just follow Oshi because he's got this place wired.
Same. I asked that because maybe I was hoping that you would give me a little bit of insight because I literally have no idea.
On the drive here, I kind of figured out what was going on a little bit, and I've been here for like 4 different seasons.
Yeah. Yesterday, I learned that Hanazono is the one, that and Hirafu are the ones that we spent the most time at. I don't think I've even been to Annapurna.
No.
Maybe we should do that.
Yes. That's actually a thing. When you're in Japan, everybody goes to Niseko, or kind of Hakuba, but mostly in Niseko, and dude, there is, I want to say 100 little resorts all around Japan, North Island, Tokyo Island, everywhere, and they're doing tickets for like $30, $50. They're doing a little hour. You can get like one lap for like $6 or $3. Everybody jam packs in this Niseko, and it's been getting absolutely crazy over here. Maybe it is the Mecca, but when we came in like 2019, we were scoring a bunch of resorts down south, and I feel like a lot of people should know that we can spread this thing out.
Yeah, it doesn't just have to
So
be
next
Niseko.
year when we come back to Niseko, there's less people. Do as I say, not as I do.
If you could have one Japanese food, I think I know the answer to this, what would it be for the rest of your life?
Wow. You almost want to throw out like a funny kebab, but it's got to be ramen, right? Ramen or sushi?
Which one?
Ooh, sushi because it's better for you. But you have to have ramen when you're here. I feel like if you got a week or something, you can handle some wheat for a 7-day period. You'll be all right.
Yeah, sushi, all the way. If
Sushi.
you could have one sushi fish meat, what would it be for the rest of your life?
Pause. I feel like I'm just a fatty tuna guy, and the
Toro.
tuna you ain't farming tuna.
No.
So you got to be careful. I don't know if they're doing farmed salmon up here, but they might get it from Norway. But if you feel, I'm like scared of that bright orange coloring salmon situation. But yeah, we got to do some investigation.
Yeah,
Is the
we're gonna have
salmon
to
farmed in Japan? I would hope not.
I feel like it can't be, but you never know.
Every salmon sushi in Japan or everywhere, really.
Oh, literally,
They're all
almost
like
every-
farm-raised salmon.
Gotta be cautious with the salmon. What's your favorite fish
Fish?
in the
Well,
sushi category?
I like to fish. In Washington, we fish for salmon.
Okay.
And then we like wild salmon, yeah.
Wild. You're not in the
Yeah.
farms.
Yeah.
You're not swimming.
A lot of omega-3, less omega-6, you know.
Yep.
Omega-6, a lot of inflammation. It's not good for you.
Not good. And then the fact that it's gray is like pretty solid answer.
Yeah.
You got a gray salmon, probably shouldn't eat it. They do that with the meat too in some places. Start adding red to the meat when it's not grass-fed. What's your favorite resort in the Niseko area?
In Niseko, that'll be Hanazono. That'll be this one right here.
That's where we are right now.
Yeah, that's where we are.
Hell yeah. How long have you been coming to Japan?
Since 2019.
Sick. Same
Yeah.
as me. 19.
Yeah.
Give a small breakdown actually of what you do for the Indo locals. It's insane.
I was just trying to grow a community, you know, trying to introduce kind of like snowboarding to people back home. There's a lot of people want to try, most of them my friends who surf. And then here's actually the cheaper and then the closer way to get to the mountains.
Yeah, sick. So is it like a non-profit thing you were saying, or how's it?
Like right now, I take very little profit, but you know, when
we got to eat. Yeah, we're trying to eventually make some money here. How is it bringing Indonesians who have never snowboarded to the deepest snow on planet Earth?
You would be surprised because the thing is, at first it's hard to sell something that people never try. But the most important part, once they try snowboarding, everyone's stoked.
Yes.
For sure, yeah.
Yes.
So it's just trying to get them on the board first.
Yeah.
And then the rest is just easy.
So rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, the only reason that I'm holding this camp this year is because Oshi, well, we have a backstory. He hit me up when I was in Indonesia with a bunch of advice, and then when we came to Japan, we linked up last year. He gave us a bunch of hookups on places to crash because everywhere was sold out and they wanted $250 a night. And I saw that he had the camp for the Indos, and I was like, dude, if you have the structure, like, let's set something up for me. Or maybe he asked me, and shout out to Oshi, because I could never facilitate something like that, and now because of you, we're about to have what, a dozen US homies come out and experience the Japanese powder dream for the first time.
Ideal number of seats in a chairlift.
Maybe one more than however many the boys are, so we can spread out a little bit.
Spread out a little bit.
Well, actually, I need to throw something out there. What is up with POW boards? Because I would think that a looser, softer board would be better in POW, because then when you like lift your front foot up, the board flexes and you can keep the nose above. But then when I made that post about flexi boards being better for POW, everybody was like, what? They were like, oh no, do I need to restructure everything I've been doing? And then I looked at some other boards and they are stiff, but they're like banana rockers, so it's naturally already doing that float. Drop some comments. Let us know the powder board situation. What's the ideal shape? Maybe we should just hit up TJ.
He would know.
Shout out TJ, actually. We're going to be linking with him.
Yeah, we need him on a side.
Hopefully tomorrow. TJ is the guy, dude.
Open POW field or some tree line?
Open POW field.
Yeah, obvious.
For sure.
Obvious.
You get as loose as you want.
Cliff drops or just a POW turn? Just the best POW turn.
Cliff drops. Anytime you're airborne. Way better, because then you can land and do a POW turn.
So I was told by somebody who knows his stuff as far as riding POW and jumping off cliffs. He said, method if it pops, Indy if it drops. What do you think about that?
I like that. Yeah, that's actually a dope one. Dude, you know what's crazy? So many people hate on the method in between the bindings, but then those same people are claiming Brock Crouch has the best method, and he grabs in between the bindings. But he pops, grabs like melon, and then absolutely lets it go.
Yeah.
So I started doing the outside of the binding just to switch it up and have both of them, and I realized I could kick it out more, but I feel like when you grab that melon and then wrench it out, it's like, I know it's a completely different style. I think I almost like that one better. So as long as it's up by the front foot, like closer towards the, I don't know.
I think what I do is I grab outside the binding and then poke it out. So I do like a mix of both, I guess, from what you're saying.
Okay.
Like I grab melon, but it's out, but it's not a proper melon, and then I poke it out.
Yeah, you kind of have to, because otherwise you throw the cork axis of the method and you don't have something to like grab and bank off of to then snap back. So if you just launch it, you're just gonna keep doing the method style angle until you land on your chest.
So what would be your ideal grab off of a cliff that drops?
I almost feel like a straight drop down is stalefish. Don't make me bring up that super park drop, dude, the 60-foot drop that I had back in 2013.
I think I'll be the one bringing that up. Now I'm gonna have to find that.
I got that in the arsenal. That's easy.
So we kind of touched on this earlier, but what are your thoughts on places like Niseko or Uluwatu kind of becoming commodified a little bit, and you tend to lose a little bit of that local culture?
I don't know if I ever saw it in Niseko. They don't even really have sushi over here. It's funny because you feel immediately like you're that guy when you claim like, oh, even if it was last year or 2 years ago, you're like, back in my day. But I'm 34 and I was in Indo specifically in 2015, 16, and there was like 3/4 of the buildings there, and there was a half of the people. So like it really does affect traffic. Like you're just stuck, you can't move anywhere. The lineup is completely crowded. And then the worst part of it all is the locals, they're not really like ready for the infrastructure around it. So there ends up being like more garbage and more sewage and runoff, and it kind of like destroys the rivers and pollutes the water. And then the locals who aren't doing like the tourist thing, they have to deal with all the repercussions of that, even though they're like, yeah, I've been living here for, my family, 100+ years, and we've been living off everything that was the land. We were making everything out of stuff that we could throw on the ground. So a lot of times I see the younger kids and they won't even know, and they'll just like, maybe the stuff that they used to throw when they were done were like the leaves wrappers that they give you, and they just throw it on the ground, and now it's like some plastic stuff. So you're kind of like, oh damn, they don't even realize. I see it in Mexico a lot too. They just throw trash right on the ground, and I'm like, oh, they don't even know that that's not decompostable, because we came through, I say we like Americans, and we started bringing plastic water bottles and stuff, and now it's just a litter fest. So long answer, but yeah, it's sad to see. And back in my day, dude, all these places were so much better. You missed out. Yesterday was way sicker. You should have shown up earlier. You know what I mean? It's just a grumpy old goober here, just back in my day.
Yeah, back in your day, we weren't waiting in a line for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
First of all, I would like to say it's very easy for us to say that. We're like, oh, now that it gets blown out, now we can't enjoy it like we used to. We are
those people who came here. Yes. But I was here first, bro. So beat it, dude.
So, follow up, do you have any plans in the coming years to maybe start going to locations that have similar benefits but are a little less discovered?
We already do that. You haven't been on those trips.
Right.
But you're about to be. At El Salvador
So like
next
where?
Next week.
Like where, so we can start blowing those places out?
I mean, any third world countries. But people aren't trying to go there because it's dangerous. And there's dirt roads and wildebeests all over the place, and crime and military, you know what I mean? There's turrets driving by you on trucks. Like, I literally go so deep into Mexico and get searched at like cartel like checkpoints. It's just like, there's embezzlement everywhere. I've been like robbed blind in Mexico 2 different times. Like, it's not for everybody. So those are the spots that, like, yeah, get there now, buy some freaking land, and maybe in 10 years it'll double or triple up. But there are those little pockets within those zones where, like, some spots in Nicaragua, you could fly in, get a nice safe shuttle, go straight to like a little resort area, but then you're not really in that country. You're not like really experiencing that culture, and that's like my favorite thing about traveling.
Well, that's how it feels here, right?
Yeah.
We're in Japan, but in Niseko, I would venture to say 30% of the people are actually Japanese.
Yeah, and then you go to like Tokyo, or you even just leave Niseko and go just to the
Kuchon.
Yeah, you just actually see real quick, you're like, oh, look at this. These buildings weren't built last year with like a modern intent. Everything.
English text on the
Yo, I want to say that. I was thinking about it this morning. The Japanese, when I'm in America and stuff starts getting all like automated, like AI and everything, it like kind of breaks often. You know what I mean? You go to open the door and it's an auto door, but then the door's getting jammed. And Japan has 10 times more like comfy infrastructure with like heated floors, auto lights in places where you're like, do you even need that? I'm walking up these stairs and lights are turning on. I go in the bathroom, lights turn on. I'm sitting down, or I'm like washing my hands and the water turns off, turns on. But it never ends up malfunctioning. They built it so well that it's like, we have grown as, humans to the point where we have all this epic technology and stuff, but they're putting like real hard work into it, and it's not like the new cars these days that are like plastic. Like all the stuff that's upgraded in the US these days, I feel like just breaks, and I'm like bummed out on it. I'm like, dude, I can open that door. You don't have to auto open it. But when I'm in Japan, I'm like, whoa, why are we pushing our hand on this toilet lever when like you just stand up and walk away and it flushes automatically? Because it doesn't break, it feels better. Or maybe I'm just here for like short amounts of time and it's all kind of new, but I love that aspect about Japan. Everything that they do is so on point.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like in the US, because we have like manufacturing making so many things, that once we come up with a better idea for something, it's not really like profitable because you have to re-engineer a factory to make all that stuff. So we just like stick with what we got. Whereas here they're like, yo, we found a better way to utilize this. They implement it right away. Japan is leagues ahead of your boys.
What is your favorite, absolute #1 thing about Japan?
The light, fluffy blower powder.
Of course.
That makes Utah literally seem bad.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
He knew he was going to get a
Yeah.
reaction out of me.
I got shit on Japan, baby.
Well, let's talk about terrain, and then that's a different story. But
I mean,
we're in Japan.
are you kidding me?
What?
Are you kidding me? Have you seen inbounds?
No. Just kidding.
Kill the camera. All right, quick tip. When you guys are cruising around and your goggles get moisture on them and they get wet and you go to wipe them with your glove and it starts to freeze and make that like icy windshield wiper effect. Although I always say leave all your gloves on, leave all your gear on, never take it off if you can't see. Your hand is warmer than the ice. A tip is just place it on the goggles and kind of warm them up as you wipe the ice off. It melts like right away, and then you can actually take some type of a sleeve and you're back in the game. All right, we got a new series. We need you guys to drop some comments and let us know what to call it. Come up with a good name, but basically Jack has a massive Lexar?
Let's start with that. Lexicon.
Lexicon. Your boy doesn't. And I know a lot of words, but I don't always know what they mean. So kind of like when Jamal was throwing out pop culture references and then having me try to figure out what they were, I'm going to throw out random words that come in my head. Jack's going to ask me if I even know what that is and try to define it. And then if I can't come up with anything in my head, also Jack's going to just come up with words he knows and see if I know what they mean. So we'll start off with the first word that comes into my head.
Don't say Truckee.
Arithmetic. It's got to be some type of a math equation. It reminds me of like origami or something. No?
I mean, yeah, so you might have stumped me on that one. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, wow, the tables have turned.
I'm pretty sure arithmetic is the basic addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication.
Oh, so I nailed it.
Yeah. But we're going to have to go in and revise it in post.
We also could start a little version where I throw out words and then Jack nails them.
Yeah.
Hit me with one.
Humble me a little bit. Okay. Necrophilia.
I feel like we can't even bring that. Oh, it's the pod. It's when someone has like sex with dead bodies, right?
Don't ask me why that was the first one that came.
Did I nail it?
Yeah.
I'm not even stoked that I know that. All right, what about hypochondriac? That is when you think that any little thing that happens gets like blown out of proportion. Basically, you get a little throat tickle and you're like, oh my God. Instead of like, do I have strep throat? You're like, do I have throat cancer?
Right.
Nailed that, huh?
I think so. I think so.
You're up.
Well, I wrote down a couple.
What's that brain doing in yours?
Not much today.
Perfect. I feel like sometimes that's how I do it. We were actually claiming that the thought process affects the writing sometimes.
Yeah.
Until you get dialed in, like you have to think about the fundamentals if you're doing them wrong, but then once you get them dialed in, you want to stop thinking about it.
Okay.
Sidestoke.
What is paleontology?
The study of freaking fossils and dinosaurs and shit,
Yeah.
right? Dude, I'm crushing it. Maybe
Dude,
I'm better than I
that was
thought
easy.
I was. Keep them coming.
I thought that was going to be... Okay, what's archaeology?
The study of like ancient like dirt and earth and land mass type stuff.
Or just digging up old stuff.
Yeah.
It could be pots, kennels. What's a kennel? Kettles.
Kennels. A kennel is a cage that a dog or some type of animal would go into. But I think a kennel is actually more like a bunch of them. It's almost like a
that's the
kennel
key thing.
shelter.
You're doing really good.
Dude, I'm that guy. Throw some Japanese ones out there.
Oh, I was just thinking about that. What's 1,000 yen?
$6.
6.03.
Yep. What does the word in Japanese konfusisugi mean, Jack?
Not even a clue.
Overstoked. Katsufisugi! Yep.
I heard that a lot.
Yep.
Never knew quite what it meant. I've got one. What is the direct translation of wagyu?
Fatty beef?
Japanese beef.
Japanese beef.
Japanese beef.
Okay, we actually learned that wagyu, although it is obstructively delicious, doesn't apply there, but we use things like that sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's not the healthiest form of red meat. obviously red meat is delicious for you. It's great for your health and everything. But when you go that fatty, you're like missing out on some of the fullness of it. What's that word? The micro something?
Mitochondria?
Nope.
What's mitochondria?
The power pack to your freaking cells. Yep. Macros. It's not like the best macro ratio because it's so much fat.
There it is.
So me and Jack decided on this trip, we're going to get some of the regular steaks.
Which is still just
So
10 times
good.
crazier than all the American.
People underestimate how good red meat is for you, but it's so crucial that it's sourced from, proper animals. And then we're gonna do a little delicacy.
We're gonna reward ourselves.
The wagyu.
Yeah.
I also realized that a lot of people like to say wagyu, like they throw like a little U or like a Y at the end.
Well, there's a Y. It's WAGYU, so it's like wagyu.
It's wagyu, right? That's why we have a comment section. Wagyu or wagyu? Wagyu. It's wagyu for me.
I think I give a little Y, and especially because it's like wagyu, you know.
Then I'm wagyu. All
But
right.
there is a Y in there.
Your favorite experience in Japan in the past 2 years?
This isn't what I should say, but just that time in Tokyo was just the biggest culture shock, most insane experience of my entire life, probably.
Perfect.
I go to so many places, and a lot of the time they just feel like they could be cities in America. And this was the first time that I really looked around and I felt truly in a foreign land. That's what I like. That's my favorite part about traveling.
All right, you're stuck in powder. When do you hit the breaking point where you should unstrap, and what are some times when you should never unstrap?
I think it's very rare that you should ever unstrap when you're stuck in powder. And I guess maybe almost never.
I'm gonna give a quick breakdown then, because I unstrapped the other day and I got some hate for it from people who weren't in the scenario that I was involved in. I was at sugarbowl.com and I got lodged into like an ice waterfall where there was some snow on top of the ice luge, and then there was like a 30+ foot drop depending on where I was gonna land, and there was like a ridge underneath it where if I slipped out and I didn't get like the proper jump, I was gonna like go into it, and if I slipped out and I was spinning while falling, everything about it was bad. So I was gonna hike out. I unstrapped 1 foot because I was gonna take both feet off. You should unstrap when you literally get boxed out over a cliff. Realized, oh shit, it's so icy underneath me that all the snow started disappearing. So I had 1 foot in. Then I was like, all right, I'm a agile human. I can handle these situations. Unstrapped my other foot. Scrizzy was down at the bottom, tossed my board. I was locked in proper, and then literally all I had to do was jump to get away from the rocks, and then I would just like land in fresh powder. So I don't know if that was like a specific situation. You really should always keep your board on you because there's so many reasons. You don't want your board to fly away. You don't want, or like you're kind of in more control when you can stand up and ollie and maneuver, and like you have that momentum and you can use your edges and stuff. But when you kind of lose all those variables, feel free to freaking unstrap.
So I fully agree with that application of throwing your board down. You said when you're stuck in powder. So that's a totally different scenario in my head. I had the same thing happen to me. I got fully cliffed out at Snowbird. I was freaking out for 25 minutes. I had friends on the bottom. The difference between your scenario and mine was that you could see where everything was headed below you. I couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
And
basically, if you don't have your snowboard on you, you're pointless. You're so feeble, you know what I mean?
yes, but I had to take my snowboard off, and I did the same thing. And I had someone above me who was helping me out the whole time, and I was able to ice climb up the 45-degree pitch, almost more than that. And I was using my board at first to kind of I was taking every pinky that I could find, every crevice, and getting up there. And then finally I throw my board up to him, and he almost catches it, and then it flies off the 60-foot cliff below me, never to be seen again. But then
So
we found it.
basically, when you get to the point where you're ready to hike out, being safer, then you can unstrap.
Throw that board.
If you're riding POW all day long, you're trying to get 6, 7, 8 hours in on hill, what are some tips to maintain energy levels whether it's food, water, whatever, to snowboard all day long.
You already mentioned the most crucial aspect. My feet will start to ache. I'll start to feel my joints going crazy after these like hour-and-a-half long runs that we're taking. I'll go inside. The second water goes down my neck, I start to feel all of the achy, sore feelings just dissipate immediately. So yeah, stay hydrated. Don't eat.
Don't eat?
Don't eat.
Why?
I mean, you've been preaching this forever, but last year we were literally doing full steak, 4 eggs, full zucchini at 8 a.m., or I was, and then we would be going to ride and hiking up hour-long traverses, and I would just be dragging the whole time. And this year we've been staying true to not eating anything besides bulletproof until 2 p.m., and that just makes me feel lighter on my feet.
Yep.
I think I really do subscribe to that now.
You want to know why?
Why?
2 reasons. The first being you get that after meal like dip off in energy because your body has to switch its energy reserves to digestion. So if you don't have that, and then it can allow all the energy reserves to go towards charging. And then also, if you don't eat breakfast, if you don't break your fast with carbs or sugar, then your body hasn't broken the fast with break fast yet. You're still running off ketones at like 12 to 16 hours without specifically carbs or sugar. Your body's running off of a fat source. So that's why we throw the fat in the concentrated like coconut oil, which is almost pure saturated fat as well, in the coffee. Blend it because you get a slow drip of the fats with the coffee, and you're burning ketones. And when you're burning ketones, your body's running off that. You're actually getting almost 8 times the energy production than if your body's running off of glucose, which is straight sugar. And the only way to do that is to have no sugar, because the moment you introduce carbs or sugar, your body doesn't know the difference. Inside it's all glucose. It switches over to that fuel source primarily, instantly. It's just like a more like, I don't know, powerful or like quick fuel source, but yeah, it makes you sluggish. So
I feel it.
pocket freaking meat. Anything I would say, you just try to avoid, like if you could just get meat, try to just avoid sugar or carbs. Like eating a piece of fruit, you're gonna have a nice little woo, but then 20 minutes later, ooh, 30 minutes later, oh, little side stoke tip. What else? Elements.com.
Yeah.
Hydration or salt. Doesn't even have to be element.
Yeah.
It could be anything that doesn't have
But it should be
sugar. You should probably use the code. You should probably grab a free sample pack with any order. You should probably log into turkey.com. Oh, eat some meat right now. Another little side stoke tip: when it gets super overcast or foggy or whatnot, and you're trying to make your way down, obviously low lights, dang shades, discount code, but find some trees. It gives a little bit of contrast so that you can see a difference in texture and see a difference in like the whoops of the trees. And I actually learned from Scotty Lego. We were in Utah at a spot, huge cliff drop, freaking like 50 feet, 40, 50 feet or something, complete whiteout, couldn't see anything. He was making snowballs and then sticking these little twigs and stuff into the snowball and then throwing it off, and you can actually see how far it goes and kind of spot the landing that way. Quick how to fall in powder tip. A lot of times this, I need help from the people for. I help out as much as I can, give out as much tips and advice. But now, your boy needs some help. I have been wearing the same helmet for like, I think 2012. We're going on 13 years with this puppy. And I have tried, I think 6 different helmets from Burn, a couple from Giro. I've tried the Anti-Ordinary. I've tried all types of brands. But it seems like at some point, they all switched to a hard plastic shell on the inside. And I don't know if you guys can see it. If you're listening, you can almost feel it, but every part of the pad that goes around the helmet that touches your head is soft. So when I put it on, it feels comfortable. And I feel like it absorbs impact if you were to have something like that happen. Every single part of it. And it's like, is it the MIPS that broke 365 degrees in here and that's why it's all soft? Or do I just have no way to find like a soft helmet? Who grabs their helmet, takes it off, feels it, and pushes and has a nice cushiony inner lining all the way around? That is what I'm looking for. I love this thing. I love the shape, the feel. That's why I wear it. The biggest tip I have with helmets is, one, if people don't wear helmets, let them not wear helmets. Stop saying no leg, no helmet. But,
No helmet, no Steve.
No helmet, no Steve. But if you feel good when you put your helmet on and you don't know the difference, then you ride amazing. If you can't find a good helmet and it feels awkward and you put it on, it doesn't like let you just sink into that flow state of riding. And I think it actually affects your riding and makes you fall. So touch your helmets, drop some knowledge, drop some comments, drop some brands, but help me out. Help me find a soft helmet all the way around that you could absorb, and cushiony, and when you put it on your head, it doesn't feel like you're actually like impacting hard plastic when you hit something. Help your boy out here. When your nose starts going under, if you fight it, you're fighting inevitable forces. Roll with it. Try to make sure that you can at least get the, like, you see me, as soon as I start feeling a little bit of nose pressure, I like jump, try to get my head past the 90 part where your neck's gonna not be in a good position, and that front flip inertia will just bring you right around. You'll land in some fresh powder and you'll keep riding. It's when you fight it that you get that scorpion going on that we're trying to avoid here. And the nose is always going under in the pow. And finally, to shut down the Japan Sidestoke, we're gonna give a little precautionary tale here. If you are cruising around by yourself on the main mountain, that's cool. But once you start going through gates, especially when it's snowing and you can't really like tell where you are and the snow's accumulating so fast, and you're in the backcountry, like side country, and you're cruising around, it's so sketchy. Always roll with somebody, because in Japan, it's famous. They have these insane rivers everywhere, and the snow is always falling into the river and melting out. The rivers are running, so there's this like divot, and I have seen some of the scariest looking cavern, like snowpack melt, like 3 or 4 Mack truck size lips of like ice and snow, and you can't tell what's underneath it. So be careful when you see like a V shape going down into a valley that all dips into one spot. There's usually a running river under that, and the last thing you want is to have that snow cave either with you or on you. So basically just dropping some knowledge for you guys to just be aware. In Japan, there is wild, dangerous sinkholes that lead to running rivers that would be nice for a little trucky dip, but if you're not prepared for that, that's not what we're looking for. Hope you guys enjoyed another episode of the Sidestoke here from Japan. Drop some comments. This thing is live all over all the platforms, all the streaming platforms. If you're listening, leave a review. If you're stoked, if you got a lot of Sidestoke built up, maybe cop some merch, support CaseyWillX.com. We got You Love to Hear It gear. And yeah, drop some, we don't even talk about the Avo gear. The Avo line's been going nuts. Anybody actually shoot me a photo or something. Tag Avo Apparel with your merch that you got, and maybe we'll dial one of you guys in here. If we get a little positive feedback, or if we get some serious stoke from one of you guys, maybe we'll send you another hoodie. If you got a shirt, we'll send you a hoodie. If you got a hoodie, maybe we'll send you a shirt. But we appreciate the support, appreciate the reviews, and see you in the next one. Chuck Fury.